Hello, hello. How about now? Can you guys hear me now? Testing check, testing check. All right. Well, that challenges things. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Well, we will see how things go because we have different scenes for the stream and we have a guest. So I'll try to get you guys sound as soon as I can as we move scenes. Sounds good? But if you guys can hear me, please just spam a bunch of honks just to make sure that you guys can hear me just fine. Instagram, are you guys able to hear me? Are you guys able to see? Because your image is frozen to me. What's going on? Stream. Oh, there you go. We see the honks. And yeah, guys, I put that chat there. Hopefully you are able to see yourself. It's just a little reminder so you guys can celebrate and be together with me. Thank you so much for being here with us. Don't forget, follow us across all social medias. We are everywhere, or most everywhere that would be on social media, right? So a fellow here on YouTube was just asking, well, where is your Discord? We posted the Discord link earlier. If we have any of the moderators around, guys, please help out if people need some of those. Oh, honk Delta Rune honk. Yes, that's a big honk. Nota Bay Tech on YouTube. Honk Delta Rune. I'm excited for that. Sia, were you at the concert? No, not for this one. Unfortunately, I was not. People may be confused, so let's just address that. What was the Aurora concert today? We were participating at South by Southwest in London and having a special showing of the Aurora concert there. So if you guys were participating, there were several hundreds of people possibly watching you guys. So hooray! But yes, there will be an Aurora homecoming coming back soon. So just stay tuned. I saw people, questioning, if you're so creative, why have the same concert? My dude, we took months making that concert. It's not as simple as that. And when you're working on a collaboration with a different artist, there's a lot more than just, hey, let's make something different, right? It's not as simple as that. That's called video gaming, or gaming industry anyways. Speaking of our social medias, guys, you know the drill. It was around 10,000 people today. Lucid is gone on TikTok. My goodness, that's a lot of people. I do understand that there were a little bit of a few hiccups. Some people are lagging, some people are crashing. We're really sorry about that. We noticed that and we were able to communicate with the devs very, very quickly. But alas, I'm sorry that it happened if that affected you. Is anybody celebrating their birthdays today? YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram. Is anybody celebrating their birthdays? Because you guys know the drill. I would love to celebrate your birthdays with you. Remember that your life is important. Remember that there is nobody that can ever replace who you are in this world. Your soul is beautiful and the world needs your light. Rose or random, today's my birthday. Happy birthday! Is it true though? Because I had somebody tell me that it was not true after I wished them happy birthday. But Roses O Random on Twitch. Everybody, can you guys just send a big happy birthday to Roses Random? Happy birthday, buddy. I hope you have a good one. Eat a lot of cake. Eat something that you love. Save a piece for me. And I'll be coming over later just for that piece. And to give you a hug. And to give you a tight hug. Anyways, you guys, we will have a very, very, very special guest today. It's one of my favorite people in the studio in terms of, honestly, just connection. And just in terms of creativity, this person is amazing. But just before we tackle that, I would very much like to share with you guys one more time. And I promise I'll stop. I just can't help myself. But let's take a quick look at the To Embers trailer, since we're going to be talking about 3D art soon. Talk to you guys soon. Yep, yep. This is the hot thing coming up soon. So if I were you guys, I would get very, very excited about what's coming up in I'm not gonna say more. Oof, I almost said more than I should. I almost said more than I should. But Mango Steph, oh hi! I think I saw you on Discord. Thank you for joining. Do you know what else is in July, Mango? My birthday. So hopefully we can get to see each other at some point and give a very, very big hug in one another. In the meanwhile, guys, let me introduce you to our guest. But please give me a second. I want to make sure that you're receiving the audio feed from our guest. 1 second. There's a lot happening here today. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Do, do, do. Wait, please, don't say anything yet. Don't say anything yet. Let's make sure that you guys have the audio needed. And this, guys, is Nat. Hello, Nat. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. I hope people can hear me.
Can you guys hear us? Yes, that's a good point. Can you guys hear us? That's a very good point. TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook.
Hello, hello.
If you guys can read it, please go ahead and just share a wave of candles to Nat. Nat, who's a senior 3D artist here at TGC and has put a lot of their hard work and their sweat and tears, I'm sure, in a lot of the items that you guys love the most. Nat, go ahead and say hi to chat.
Hello. Yes, I am a senior 3D artist here at TGC. I've been working here for around 4.5 years now. And I started out on events and now I've kind of moved on to events and seasons, and I'm super excited to be involved in like all of the cosmetics and skies. So yeah. Oh, and not to mention I work on cosmetics, not so much environment stuff. So character art over here. Yes. Very
Well,
exciting.
let's go off script real quick then, Nat. What is one cosmetic that you just absolutely had a blast working on?
Um well, one that I had a lot of fun on is the seahorse mask from Season of Duet, the pianist's mask. That one is I put a lot of extra time into that one just because I really liked the concept and I thought it was really fun to make. Um, Same with the Season of Radiance gazelle mask. That one was also really fun. I really like making animal masks. That's super fun for me.
That's
Um,
awesome. Oh,
yeah.
there's already people here saying, "Oh my God, Nat, can you please make a masculine shirt and more masculine designs?"
Oh my gosh, yeah. We do try to like keep in mind like if we do been doing a lot of feminine stuff, at least do more masculine stuff. So yes, I definitely will like be interested in doing that for the future.
Note taken, note taken. But Nat, I would like people to kind of get to know you a little better, right? Like you're such an amazing person here in the studio, and it, I'm sure you feel the love. But everybody here loves hanging out with you. Everybody says how amazing that is. Uh, when did you first realize, Nat, that you wanted to be an artist?
Um, I feel like there was no sort of like aha moment where it's like, oh yes, art is the thing for me. It's just always been kind of like from childhood, I would doodle a lot, and I was like that classic like art kid in class where it's like if you're doing an art project, like you want me on your team and that type of thing. And in 6th grade, I was voted most likely to be an artist, so of course I was like, "Can I go to art high school, mom?" And she's like, "Sure." So I went to art high school, and that's where I learned about 3D modeling, and then I went to art college, and now I'm here.
Wait, that's awesome. So no resistance from your parents? Because a lot of people watching here want to become artists, and their parents are just, go to engineering school, go to law school or whatever. So I'm so happy that people just supported you right away.
Yeah, it was like not like I didn't get resistance from my parents really. They've always been very encouraging. And even my dad was like the one that told me about digital art in the first place. He's like, "Have you gotten a tablet? You should get a tablet." And I was like, "What's a tablet? What's digital art?" Um my mom was a little bit more on the side of like, "Oh yeah, follow your dreams, but if this doesn't work out, make sure you have a backup plan." So yeah, I was very lucky to like have parents that supported me through my entire like because it's just always been a thing. Like My dad likes to talk about I drew on a Magna board when I was like 2, and I did a face that had eyebrows making an expression. He's like, "That's when I knew. That's when I knew you'd be an artist." Just because I had the nuances of like making a sad face or something. I don't know, but yeah, I'm very lucky.
That's awesome. There are people here already saying on Twitch. My parents were very similar. They supported me in animation and art. I did, and I pushed my eldest son's artistic abilities. That's awesome. I love to see that a lot more people are being accepting that art can be a function, right? That the art can be a living. That
Yes,
it's
it
just
is
that
a
the
real
grind,
job.
right? And people say, oh, but the grind is hard. But I suppose the grind is hard for any profession, any career you try to follow, right? Like if you're going to law school, or med school, I guarantee you that the grind is gonna be super hard. So
Yes.
it's no different from an artistic living, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say like as long as you're surrounded by the right people and you like what you're doing, even in those times where it does get kind of grindy, it always makes it like makes the work not feel as much like work.
Yeah. And what was the turning point to you, Nat? Like at what point, little Nat, you know, thought that this was a passion, but that this could also be a profession?
When I started finding out about jobs that exist for art, I guess again it was like no certain moment where it was like, oh, I need to do this now. It's always been like, yep, that's what I've been gonna do the whole time. And maybe I didn't know like what type of artist I would be when I was 12. Like when I was 12, I don't think I even knew what like 3D modeling was. I just knew I wanted to be an artist. And then along the way you find more things that you're like interested in or what you want to pivot towards or what you really want to focus on. So I would say like when I was in high school and I took that first 3D modeling class and I made a character for the first time, that's when I was really like, okay, yeah, I want to do this forever, even though it gives me migraines.
Fair enough. But a lot of people here, Nat, I'm sure, are young artists, and they just keep wondering, like, will I ever make it? How do I make it happen, right? This dream of making art for a living. What would you tell to somebody that may be feeling discouraged of their future because that's what they want to do and nobody else encourages them?
I would say just make make stuff. Like make stuff even if you feel like you don't have the skills or the knowledge to do it, because I feel like a lot of people when they want to be an artist they say like I want to be an artist but man I need to learn how to do this or I need to learn how to do that, and I'm like, well, if you like want to make movies, make a movie. Like it's actually kind of shocking like how easy it is to just start, even when you don't know anything. And that's what I find to be the best way to learn. Like don't wait for someone to like teach you. Like again, whatever you want to do, you want to make games, like try making a game. If you have an idea, just start. Like I think that people like get kind of discouraged when they don't have like a lot of stuff in their portfolio, but I feel like if you just keep working on the things that you're passionate about, when it comes time to like apply to that dream job or make that portfolio or apply to that dream school or whatever, you'd be surprised at like how much work that you already have. Like I think when I applied to TGC and I had my interview, um I hadn't worked in a professional artist position before, like at all whatsoever. This is my first position in the industry. But I worked on a
Wow.
lot of student projects. And I remember like going through my whole spiel of like who I am, what I've done. And by the end of it, they were like, wow, you've done a lot of stuff. And I I legitimately was like, wait, really? Like I wait, are you serious?
Wow, I didn't know that, Nat, that this is your first professional position in art. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I again I'm just like super lucky and like happy to be here because I didn't think that I would find a position so soon after college. It did take me a few months after college applying to like everything under the sun. But like I ended up in a spot where it's like essentially exactly what I wanted to do. So yeah, I'm super grateful.
That's amazing. And how long have you been in TGC?
I joined during the pandemic at the end of 2020. So essentially I started at the beginning of 2021.
Do you remember what was the very first task that you were assigned? Like, okay, Nat, welcome to TGC, make this. What was that thing?
Um, the first the first event I worked on was the Days of Bloom, where we did the cherry blossom stuff. So my first cape I ever made was the cherry blossom cape. And I feel like I've been living up to that ever since. Like, it's the first cape I ever made, and I feel like it's one of the best ones. It was like
Yes,
really
it
fun to work
is.
on. It was super
Yes,
cute.
it is one of the best ones. That's
Yeah.
so cool. And I think that may be like, if there is such a thing, but the nemesis of being an artist, right? It's always trying to live up to your last best thing. How do you deal with that? Because that could be a little mind numbing or brain hurting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I used to be the the events cosmetic artist where I would actually do concept as well as the model. And I was that for maybe 2 or 3 years. And it was getting to the point where it was like I did the concepts for the events for 1 year, and then the next year I have the same events coming up. And so I was like, okay, I need to do something that's similar to what I did last year, but different, but better, but cooler, but like not too cool. And it did get kind of like a little bit frustrating sometimes because I was like, I had all of my good ideas last year. What do I do now?
Yep.
And now we have like a lot more people working on events and bringing new ideas in, and that definitely helps a lot. But it's not so much of an issue anymore because I find myself working on like many different projects, and so it's not like the same thing of like I did this event last year. I need to like do the same thing but different again.
Right.
So yeah.
There are some people here in chat already saying that Mango, that who I said hi earlier, says, "Ooh, that's one of my favorite capes." He's talking about the Bloom cape you just mentioned. Cheetah on Twitch said, "You made my favorite cape." All the folks here are saying the cherry blossom cape is so good. Oh my god, the devil in sky. Oh my god, the cherry blossom cape, so classic, very impressive. How does it feel to actually see all this love to something you've made?
It's really weird to think about sometimes that like the things that I make in my bedroom, because we work from home and my work setup is in my bedroom. I'm just in here like making little capes and doing stuff and then like sending it to people and like getting feedback on it and all that stuff. And then like sometimes it's easy to forget about like the greater reception of so many people that I've never met around the world are seeing this art and they really, really like it. And it always like I like every single day I think about it and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's somebody out there that's seen my art and really appreciates it, and maybe it's made their day, and it makes my day.
That's so
it's
cool.
very humbling.
You can't see because my little crab doesn't have a mouth, but like I'm smiling so hard that it's hurting my cheeks. That's so wholesome. And speaking of exactly that, Nat, about loving something that somebody else made so much that you sort of incorporate that to your day-to-day or lifestyle. You are also an amazing cosplayer. How did cosplay become part of your creative life? And I just want to mention that when I was talking to people on Discord earlier about the stream, I mentioned that we would talk a little bit about cosplay, and they said that cosplaying is essentially making 3D art in real life. Is there any truth to that statement?
Yeah, there is a lot of truth to that. I find that like a lot of my cosplay knowledge makes its way into my 3D modeling knowledge, and vice versa. Like I can use 3D modeling to make things for my cosplay. And yeah, that's very true. Like the way that I got into it, to answer your question, is like anime conventions. I started going in, I think my first one was 2012. And I didn't know what they were. My friend invited me. And even from that like first convention, I was like, oh shoot, I want to make a costume. This is the coolest thing ever. And then going to conventions when you're wearing your cosplay that you made, or bought, like no shame there. You meet similar minded people that are interested in the same things that you are, and they'll like come up to you, like no fear, come up to you and want to be your friend. And I just got kind of addicted to like the creative and the social aspect of it. And I've been doing it ever since. Like I took maybe a short break in college because I was so busy, but yeah, pretty much for the last like 12 years.
That's amazing. Sorry, Nat. Let me just cover something here that is happening on TikTok. People, especially from Brazil, my people, talking about the increase in values. You guys, when we work with platforms similar to Google Play or Apple or Steam and such, many times it's not up to us the way that prices are adjusted. It's up to platforms, and sometimes they barely give us notice. We could have tried to announce that earlier to you guys, and for that I do apologize. But just know that it's not an internal decision. Just before this conversation gets out of hand, and I would like to address that. Back to you, Nat. Do you remember your very first cosplay, and how does that compare to your most recent one? Like, how much have you considered, or how much have your consideration when making a cosplay changed since you made the first one, which we're gonna take a look now?
Yeah. So my first cosplay was Sebastian from Black Butler.
Black Butler, right? Yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I knew
Yeah.
it. I knew it right away.
Yes. Yeah. It's changed. Like, oh man, that first one was rough. Like, it was really really rough. Um, my views on cosplay and what I choose to cosplay has changed a lot since then. I actually recently remade the Sebastian cosplay, which is like the one on the right. The one on the left is me when I was like, I don't know, 15. Um,
And the
and
one on the
yeah,
right is like this year when you are 17. You look so young.
17. Oh, thank you. No, I'm 27. Um, but yeah, I turns out it helps a lot when you actually learn how to follow a pattern correctly, and when you actually learn like proper tailoring methods, and like not skip any steps. Like I skipped a lot of steps with the old one. There's like so many things wrong with it, but I actually reused some of the same parts of the old cosplay in my new cosplay, so that was kind of neat. It was like a almost like a 10-year anniversary of cosplaying for me, like a coming home almost.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and nowadays, like, I only spend time cosplaying characters that I really, really enjoy. When I was in high school, I would find myself cosplaying a lot of characters just to be part of a group or follow a trend or like just do the new hot thing, right? But it is a lot of money and a lot of time to work on these cosplays, and I find that it's just a much more worthwhile investment when you spend all of that time and all of that money on a character or a show that you're like, I'm gonna wear this more than to just one convention, because that happened a lot too, where I'd make a cosplay and wear it to one convention. I was like, well, I'm never gonna wear this again. What do I do with it?
But then again, right? Like people in chat, I'm sure you're reading one of the chats, but people are saying, "Oh my God, it improved so much," and it clearly shows, right? So, what do you think cosplay has taught you that you bring into your work as a 3D artist?
So knowing about like certain types of stitches and tailoring and all of that stuff, while I don't directly put it into like the models that I do for Sky, for example, like it does inform a lot, like when you're making clothes, to know how fabric falls and how it comes together and all this stuff. So like even subconsciously, I feel like knowing how to sew has helped when I'm working on parts of a cosmetic for Sky that is maybe not is like highlighted in the concept, so I kind of like have to ad lib something. Um, so yeah, and like the 3D modeling also informs the cosplay for sure too. Oh yeah, this one's Sakuna.
That's my favorite one. Sakuna Husbando, for sure. I told
Yeah,
you we are
that
gonna
one was
geek
fun
out
to
on some
make too.
anime stuff. And here we have Trigun. Trigun?
Yes. I'm trying to watch the stream, but it's a little bit behind. Yes, there's Trigun, and on the left there is Kid Free from Witch Hat Atelier, which doesn't have an anime yet, but it is coming out soon. So
The
he's just
manga is
cosplaying
super
a manga
hot though.
character.
Everybody's really
Yes.
talking beautiful things about it.
Oh, it's so good. It's incredible. If you haven't read it, please do. Like the art is amazing, the plot's amazing, the world building is amazing. It's incredible all around.
And you guys, along with cosplaying, won't you know that Nat is also an actress, as you can see on this photo. Dead.
Oh, I'm like, which photo?
That's literally how I named this photo for the stream. I put Nat is dead.
Yeah, Family Guy pose must do when you're cosplaying Bash Stampede.
Must do indeed. Let me go back real quick here just to show a little bit of behind the scenes, right, guys? And the whole point why we're showing all of these cosplays, not only they are great, but it also shows that for something to look amazing, something to look beautiful, which we're gonna be talking shortly in terms of Sky 3D, it does take work behind the scene, right? Like if you take a look at this Sakuna cosplay and photos, right? It looks amazing, but just take a quick look at how everything begins. That's from Little Witch's Atelier. Do you actually do like 3D printing and stuff like that for your pieces?
Yeah, so for the Witch Hat cosplay, we 3D printed a few parts of it. The buttons on the front, I didn't model myself. I bought those models online. And then, yeah, the glasses here, I modeled those myself, and that's a 3D scan I took of my face on my phone. It's not the most flattering I've ever looked, but yeah, I modeled the glasses. We printed those out at home and painted them and weathered them and everything. And by we, I mean me and my roommate. He helps me with props and everything. It's a cosplay household around here.
And folks, this is how a cosplayer's home looks like for the most part. It's sewing machines, fabrics everywhere, cutouts everywhere. And that's what I mean, right? Like when you're working creatively on anything, and it's not any different from video games, I'm assuming, and that, please correct me if I'm wrong, it's the same thing. Like it goes from nothing into making something into existence. And that's really, I guess, what turns you into an artist, is creating something that doesn't exist and just bringing that to existence. Nat, what are your thoughts on this, and can you explain what's going on in these photos?
Yeah, it's kind of the same but different, because like the more time I spend like doing 3D models and like digital painting and all that stuff, like sitting down at a desk, the more I find I need a creative outlet that is a little bit more hands-on. So sewing cosplay has been like a really, really great thing for me, where it's like I can get down on the ground and cut fabric out and like sew things together, and it's like it's a lot of labor, and sometimes I miss, like in 3D modeling you can just have the symmetry tool on, but everything that you make in real life you have to like actually do it twice, which is kind of lame. But yeah, in the photos, that's just like getting down on the ground, cutting out pattern pieces from the fabric, because the floor is my widest open space that I can lay out these like giant rolls of fabric on, because I feel like I'm always making like these super long coats. Like I've become like the coat guy when it comes to my cosplays. And that's just like, yeah, a picture of my table and how like it's just a mess. I try not to have people over when I'm working on cosplay, because I'm like, my living room is exploded with all my sewing notions, so sorry guys.
Okay.
I noticed that some people are asking about a cat. That was actually my previous roommate's cat. That's actually Ash's cat, Gecko. I don't live with him anymore, unfortunately.
You were roommates with Ash? That's
I was roommates with Ash,
incredible.
yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, so much.
Ash the concept
revealed.
artist.
That's fantastic. So you guys were pretty much two peas in a pod. Ash, who still is a concept artist here at TGC, and you're making 3D versions of what she makes.
Yeah, we held at the TGC apartment.
That's awesome. Well, with that said, Nat, can we kind of take a look into a little bit of the 3D parts of Sky?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do we have here?
Are you seeing my screen?
Yep.
So here I brought up some of the new Days of Color items for this year. I figured it'd be kind of fun just to like take a tumble around and see essentially kind of like an under the hood look of what a 3D artist sees on the day-to-day. You'll notice that a few things look a bit different than in the actual game, because like what we see here in Maya looks a little bit, I guess different is the only way I can describe it. Like, for example, this mask here, it's supposed to be orange and yellow, but because of the way that we set it up, it doesn't look orange and yellow here. But if I swap over to Sky, then you can see here, everything looks as intended.
So one thing, Nat, that somebody was asking on Discord, right? Like we were talking about 3D art and meshes came up, right? What is a mesh? What is a skeleton? What is a skin? are these things different? Can you walk us through a little bit on these very basic languages used by 3D artists?
Sure, I will do my best to describe these because I feel like whenever it comes to describing like professional terminology, I always lose my words. But so these are meshes here. They're basically a combination of vertices and faces, and that is how we essentially build all of the items in Sky. And these meshes will be skinned to a rig. If I can bring that up, maybe. Yeah, here we have our rig. Oh, I think we're missing a few things. Where's my joints? There they are. Here's the skeleton. So the rig here is essentially the skeleton. It's the bones. It's what you actually what an animator would move to make the mesh move. So
It's
if
a
I were
stick
to
figure.
select this here,
Essentially a stick figure for all purposes.
yeah, it's a stick figure. Let me see. Oh no, is this locked in position? Hold on. I promise I know how to do my job. Okay, actually, here's a better way to see it. I can actually scroll through some of the animations here, and you can see some of the joints moving around, and that moves the mesh. And that is where skinning comes in. So skinning is essentially how, like, what parts of this mesh move along with, for example, this thigh bone here. We only want this part of the mesh to move with it. Like, if I were to move my leg, I wouldn't want my eyebrow to fly off, for example. So skinning is kind of like what we paint on to like define the influence of each of these bones. So this is the tip of the hand. So here's the tip of the left hand here. And that's what that bone will move, essentially. If I wanted to break this, I could paint more hand bones over here, but that's not what we want. So that would be a skinning bug.
There are a few questions on YouTube, Nat, that maybe I can just ask them and you can see if you're able to address. How do they scale with different heights, like preventing clipping and such, especially with Chibi?
So the way that Chibi works is essentially it will take this skeleton, scale it down, but it's not just scaling it down. It's also like reducing the distance of like the hips to the shoulders, and then it makes your head bigger a little bit. So essentially it's just taking the same skeleton and changing the size of it, and that will change the mesh along with it, essentially. And so that way we don't have to have different skeletons for different sizes. It's all the same skeleton, but we just mess with the proportions a little bit.
There's another question here that I suppose is the same, but I don't know. I'm not a 3D artist, but I'm gonna read it anyways. How do you manage the skeleton when Sky has the different heights to a sort of decimal? Like, how does that question make sense to you? How do the pants also fit these new sizes?
Yeah, so we all fit the cosmetics to what you see here. This is like the standard size rig. And then your height in the game is taking this rig, and the game itself will squash and stretch the rig. So it's all one universal size, but based off of your height in the game, it will scale the universal one. So we don't have to do anything specific, like on our side, to make sure that like items look bigger or smaller. It's all procedural.
So let me ask you something, and that can be a challenge. We will see. As a 3D artist, let's say that we have this cosmetic here, right? If we were to make something completely different from what you currently have, are we able to do that? Can we break this outfit or try to make something new? There's not going to be in the game, by the way. Highlighting, it's not going to be in the game. Chat, if you can type this in the chat, it's not going to be in the game. It's gonna be amazing. But Nat, please, can you try to make something different with that?
Yeah, sure. So 3D modeling always takes like a little bit of time, so this is going to be a little bit scuffed, but I'll see what I can do here. If I wanted to add horns to this, I would take these faces here.
I'm down with that.
And extrude them out a bit, and then maybe I would take these edges make them circles. And I'd extrude that again.
Oh, so every curve you have to add, right? Like it's not like paint that you just copy and paste and you have horns, right? You have to be very careful with proportions, with curvature and everything.
Yeah, yeah. Essentially, I'm just adding more faces to sculpt around. And it's always easier to work off of an existing mesh, actually, than make a brand new one. So this way, I don't have to get it all set up again. I can just bring
people are asking for snail antennas. Oh, Anthony.
Snail antenna? Okay. Something weird's happening here. I don't think this hair is completely symmetrical, so it got a little bit weird here.
Oh, good. This is just for funsies.
Let me see. I delete the history.
What is Nat doing right now? English muffin. We have a cosmetic, and as a 3D artist, we are just challenging Nat to make something completely different out of the cosmetic presented. Some folks are asking for snail antenna, butterfly antenna. We started off with horns. Maybe that's why they're a little bit to the thick side. I like the horns idea better, to be honest, but chat asks what chat wants.
I'm gonna start over a little bit here. I'm gonna get those snail eyes in. We'll find a way.
What is this software called? It's
This is
from
Maya.
somebody on TikTok. This is Maya.
Yes. Yeah. We use Maya here.
Would you
And
say that
Maya
this is
not
pretty
used-
standard industry-wise to use Maya for 3D modeling?
Yes. Yeah, that is what I have learned is the industry standard for 3D modeling. I've heard Blender is a little bit rising in popularity, but it's not quite at the point where it has the support to be like industry standard, but that is very popular. We even have some artists here that use Blender and have to transfer over to Maya because our internal tools are built for Maya. But that is something that is allowed and encouraged to work in what you feel most comfortable with.
You know what? I could see myself doing that. No, well, no, not at all. Let me take that back. It's not because it's easy, you guys. It's because it looks super relaxing. When you're working that, do you like completely zone in and like nothing else matters and the world doesn't exist outside of your headphones and while you're modeling, or are you a more of a aware person and you're just aware of everything else that is happening while you're working?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I try to listen to podcasts while I'm working, and at times I either am able to really, really focus on the podcast and like hear a good story, but sometimes I find that I get so into what I'm doing that I haven't been listening for like an hour. So you can definitely end up like working for an hour in silence and then not even realize. But it is nice sometimes to just like put on a lo-fi playlist or your music and just really get into it.
Oh, Liliana Santos is asking, have you ever created something that didn't make it to the cut?
Yes, but sometimes we cut things and then we actually bring them back for other things because we're like, oh, we made this. It doesn't actually necessarily fit for this event, or like stylistically it's just not working out or something. But we'll have that like already made thing and we'll be like, oh wait, this thing's actually perfect for something else. So I'm trying to think of, like, I think there was a hair that I made for a Days of Color or a Days of Rainbow back in the day, that we cut and then we like repurposed it into something else. I couldn't tell you exactly what it was, but there's been a few items where we cut them, but we try not to have too much wasted labor. It's not that often that we like make something all the way in 3D and then we're like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore.
Another question here, Nat. So clearly there's a lot that can be done with 3D, right? And I'm assuming it's also all about detail. So is there any specific little detail or any cosmetic that you have made that made total difference at the final product?
Let me think. A little detail. Oh, the season of Bluebird cape, the ultimate cape, has these little bluebirds on it that you only see when you dye the cape. And that wasn't my idea. That was Joey's idea for like the concept. But it was really, really fun to make. A little bit tricky. We had to even get engineering to help us out a little bit just to make it possible so that you could dye something with feathers on it. But I think that is a great example of like a little detail that adds to like the overall like uniqueness and specialness of the product.
Mabel, is this Cinema 4D? No, this is Maya. Let's see here. What is one thing about being a 3D artist in a live game, like Sky, for example, that most people don't realize?
I think people, so sometimes I get asks from current students if they can interview me for a project that they're working on. And there was one person that was really, really surprised that when I answered his question of like how much we iterate in 3D, I say it's not always the case that we get a concept and we make it in 3D and that it's good. Like we iterate a lot in 3D sometimes. Sometimes the 3D product ends up looking quite different from what the concept was, just because there are certain things you can't really anticipate in 3D, where it's like maybe the drawing made it look super cool and it's just not working as well, or like this one aspect is giving us a issue that we just could not have predicted. So we actually do quite a bit of like the 3D artists working upon the concept if needed. And we go through sometimes many, many iterations in 3D. And yeah, that was something that I'm not sure if that's unusual or not, considering this is my first and only job so far in the industry. But that was something that that student was very, very surprised to learn.
Oh, there is one more question, and then I'll wrap up the 3D segment with another question. But to answer chat's question here, where is it? Real quick. I'm not sure if this is the kind of question, if this kind of question is for 2D artists instead. But do you guys, as a TGC, have limitations on creating designs or any specific color palettes? Like, designs are discouraged for being super aggressive or something like that? How do these conversations go?
We do have things that like we try to, I don't know, there's like always certain things that it's like we try to avoid them because like maybe something in one culture means something in a different culture. So we try to be mindful of that type of thing. So we like in the concept phase before it makes it over to 3D, we'll have a bunch of different teams look at the concepts and be like, hey, we're thinking of making these things. And what do you think of them? Do you see any issues? Like do you think they'll be cool? Do you think players would like them? And so we have a lot of those conversations before we like even get to the 3D stage. Does that answer that question?
I suppose so. Yeah,
Okay.
again, a question likely to the concept artist, but yeah, thank you for addressing that. All right, let's give us a little walk around of that antenna, and maybe we can compare that to the Sky Kid cosmetic.
Yeah, sure. It's a little it's a little scuffed up, but let me see if I
So
can
good.
actually get this to go into the game. I don't know if it'll I don't know if it'll work immediately, but let me see if I can
That would be amazing. In the meanwhile,
see.
have you ever had a moment where something finally clicked when you were sculpting something, and you thought, "Yes, this is why I love my job"?
I have those moments more often than you think.
That's awesome. It means that you love what you do.
I do. Yeah. We're pretty good here about giving 3D artists the chance to call dibs on whatever concepts that we really, really like. And so most of the time I'm working on things that I personally think are super cool and would look really cool. So yeah, I a lot of the time I'm having fun what I'm making just because I'm like also like really excited about it.
Well, you're getting a lot of love in chat for what you're making right now. So take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. I'm just saying.
Sometimes I'm like happy that I work from home just because people can't see what I'm doing. Because I'm like, I feel like the all the time with 3D, there's like a really long desert that you have to cross of like it looks so bad. And then the last like 10% is like when it all comes together. And so I'm
Uh-huh.
like, nobody look at my process.
Well, people here are saying that they would love to wear those antenna with the butterfly cape. A little cosplay in the game, no less.
That would be funny. Let's see if I can do that. All right, I'm just exporting it, and then if I go to the game and I have to load it into 2 seconds,
Oh, let's see what it would look like.
it's gonna look really bad.
I highly doubt it. I think it's gonna look so awesome. Unique for sure.
All right, it's frozen just because it's loading, so.
Do you
There
need
we
to have
go.
a very beefed up computer in order to run these kinds of things? Oh, there you go, you guys. Whoa! That's so cool.
They've got a lot of frame delay on it because I didn't set that up, so they're extra wiggly.
Well, let's keep it extra wiggly. I love it. Hey, you guys, what do you think of this?
Here we go.
Oh, little butterfly. We have a butterfly cosplay, you guys. Look at chat. Look at chat, Nat, if you have a chance. People absolutely love it, and so do I.
Super quick and dirty snail eyes.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And then again, you guys, this is something that, how long would it take, Nat? You did this in like 10 minutes, 15 max. If there was like an idea, right? Like season of insects. Let's put it that way.
That would be fun.
Season of insects. How long would it take for you to make the kind of antenna that you would like to have?
So for an antenna like this, I'd give myself a day or two, and that's just for the modeling part. There's always like the showing it to the team and gathering notes and getting iteration on it. So it would end up probably being like a week or two, just for that one item. But like in terms of like the process of iterating it, modeling it should only take like maybe a day's work.
Gotcha. Not 10 minutes on stream
Not
while
10
answering
minutes.
questions. Voila, chat. This is what it takes to become a 3D artist, is being able to do this on the stream while answering random questions. Hope you guys like it. All right. Anything else that you'd like to add to that outfit, Nat? Or do you think we can start moving into what's new in Sky and talk a little bit about Days of Color?
Yeah, let's do some Days of Color stuff.
Cool. So Days of Color has grown a lot since it began, right? How have you seen it evolve, especially as someone who has worked behind the scenes and for so long within Sky?
Yeah, Days of Color, well, it used to be Days of Rainbow back when I started on it, and it's changed so much. Like, I think that first Days of Rainbow was essentially just some cosmetics and then like a rainbow quest that you could do where you go find rainbows. But we didn't really have any like activities beyond that or like any environmental changes, like changes to the levels or anything like that. And I remember the first Days of Color where we had the like Rainbow Road, like we brought in like the concept team working on an event, and I remember thinking like events have basically grown into mini seasons where we have like an entire team working on it instead of just little me. And it's kind of like incredible to see how much it's developed over time, because sometimes I think back and I'm like, oh wow, the process used to be just like make some cosmetics and that's good. But now there's like so much more that goes into it. There's so much design and like the team has just been like phenomenal, and like they're always adding things that even I miss. So when I play it, I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know we had this.
And Nat, you're also a non-binary person, right? What does it mean to you to be part of the team creating a space like these we have for Days of Color?
um, to me, it feels like safety. I like don't want to get too real, but in times of growing uncertainty these days, it's really, really nice to know that there are still spaces where, like, even corporations, companies are saying, like, hey, we see you, we support you, and you are welcome here. And, like, come into our house, you are our guest, and this is for you. Um, and that means a lot. It goes a long
What
way.
One of the things that I love, and funny that I'm about to ask this because I was just having this conversation yesterday with somebody within the team. How do you think Sky encourages players to be themselves and find joy in that?
Well, on the cosmetic side, for sure, we try to give people as many tools as possible to cosplay or roleplay or be or represent themselves however they want. And there are definitely areas that I still feel like we could grow into, and we need more of that. And there's like a niche, or like maybe, as someone said earlier, more masculine items. We can have more masculine items, and like that is something that comes up sometimes when we're going over concepts that we want to move into 3D. We're like, oh, well, we've done a lot of this stuff recently, so maybe we should do more of this stuff so this community can feel like represented, or the people like who have glasses can wear glasses, and that type of thing. Um, so in that aspect, I feel like we do our best to hopefully make people feel like they are represented.
Second of silence, you guys, just because I would like to play the mini game real quick.
Yeah,
I
you
am
gotta
in the
join me
area now.
here.
Yeah, yeah, if you can hop in, that'll be nice. That'll be awesome. Let me see here. Ta, ta, ta.
Oh,
Personal
it says
question
you're in a place I
about.
can't join.
Oh, let me go back to home space.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, good. No, no, no. What is a moment you've had in game or by interacting with players? I think the first time you and I met was at the Sky Assemblies, right? But that reminded you why this work matters, why working with Sky and the TGC matters so much.
um, there was one time it wasn't in person or in the game, but there was one time on Discord, I think, somebody saw a cosmetic that I made, and they were so excited about it that they were like, they were ecstatic. They were so excited. They were talking in all caps, and they were saying like, I'm stimming, it's so cute, like it's amazing. And like that message just really like stuck with me, because again, it's that thing of like being reminded that there are people out there that see the things that I make, and like it gets them so excited. And it's just, again, like very humbling, and it reminds me like that the thing that I'm working on has a real world impact on people. And
Yep.
even though sometimes it just feels like again, I'm sitting in my bedroom and making cute little hats and shoes and stuff, it's like it it matters to people, and
It
that's
does.
amazing. And I never thought that I'd find myself in a position where like my art is making that kind of difference.
And I would argue that like it makes more of an impact than we even have an idea of. Like the Sky is a haven, a safe haven, I would add, to so many people that I don't even, you know, I'm not in the position to even try to understand what some of our folks who play the game, who want to be themselves, and the only place that they can be themselves is within a game, and being able to provide that to them. That's sort of amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Your Ja, who's playing? I am playing. My name is Tio, and I am playing. But the person talking is Nat, our senior 3D artist in-house for Sky. And yeah, we were just chatting about who Nat is and what inspired them to become an artist. And, you know, her love and passions outside of the game for cosplay, and then we just played a little bit on the software 3D softwares that Nat uses, and then we created antennas, and we played a little bit with that Sky Kid in the dev build to see how it would look like. So that's pretty much all we did. Nat, unfortunately, it's coming about time for us to head out, so we won't get to play Days of Color very much. Let me
I'm
just change
sorry it
sense
took
real
so
quick.
long to find you.
No, dude, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I love those antenna, and I did not expect to see those in the dev build. I thought that we would just build stuff. To see that in the dev build was amazing. Hold on just a second. All right, Nash. So to wrap this up, right? If someone out there is watching this and they want to be where you are at one point in their lives, whether in games, whether in cosplaying, whether just being fully comfortable with who they are, do you have any messages to those people?
Yeah, it's again really crazy and humbling to think that like I'm leading a life in a position that like other people might aspire to be in. And all I can really think to say is like, don't stop creating, do what you're passionate about, try not to burn yourself out. Make sure you keep a hobby that is just for you and maybe like keeps it fun. Uh, Hold on to your friends, the ones that can support you. Like now more than ever, it helps a lot to go outside and see people and like not get too swept up in the creating aspect of it, because you still need to get that connection from people and that inspiration, and that will improve your work for sure. And just like keep working towards that dream. Like the only way to fail for sure is to never try. And I think I like to believe that if you keep working hard on something and you're truly passionate about it, it will work out for you. And it might take a while, but I I like to remain positive about that.
That's awesome. People here just saying that, you know, thank you so much for everything that we do on Sky. People really appreciate everything that you've done here with us, Nat. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. As I said, and I'm not afraid to say it again, you are one of my favorite people in the studio. As a geek, as a weeb, as a person, as an artist.
That's such high
I've
praise.
been I've been dreaming to have you on stream, and I'm happy that we found the opportunity to do this together. Thank you so much for your time from the bottom of my heart, Nat. Thank you so much for your time and being here with me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This was really fun, and I'm sorry we didn't get to play that much Sky, but I'm super happy to be here, and it's always fun talking to you, Tio.
Are you kidding? We did something that I could never do. I can play Sky with people every day in the week, but I cannot put antennas on Sky Kids. So thank you so much for that. And Nat, I'll talk to you on Zoom shortly, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, Sky Kids, thank you so much for being here with me. It's time to say our goodbyes, and I would like to acknowledge some of you guys. Caramel, thank you so much. TikTok, for being here with us. Kank Haru, thank you so much. Liliana Santos, The Devil in Sky. Who else? Miss Nurin, Sterling Ivy, Mango, English Muffin, and Yoshi! Yoshi, stick your tongue out. Oh, I'm glad that I saw you. We were just talking on Discord before this. But thank you very much, and especially you, who I haven't called out, but who stuck with us in this stream. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had too. And that is incredible. And it's a fantastic opportunity for you guys to get to meet them a little bit more today. And my name is Tio, and I will wrap up and say my goodbyes to you. Thank you all. I'll see you guys soon.